3, go.
America. The left in America today thinks that you solve this income inequality with redistribution, right? So they created this economy in which if you're not in the knowledge industry, forget it. You're going to be poor, but they're happy to pay higher taxes and then take that money and buy you public housing or give you food stamps. The only problem with that, Will, is that working class people don't want to live at the beneficence of rich liberals. They want autonomy, they want freedom, and they work really hard for it. And here's where Trump's genius comes into it. Trump did this very pro-working class stuff. He controlled the border, limited the supply of labor, which immediately translates into higher wages for the working class, and he imposed these tariffs, which are going to elevate the product of the American working class. But he combined that with immense goodies for the business community that are coming down the pike. Deregulation, drill baby drill, tax cuts, taxes of 15% corporate taxes if you reshore manufacturing. That combination is the winning ticket that will really lift all boats. And I don't know that I can point to an example where that's been tried before.
Woo! Batya, my girl, she nails it. It's very true. Trump is combining the best ideas from the left and the right over the last 100 years. And it's why the Democrats have no ideas, because he's taken all the best ones, putting it together. And that is going to start this reset, this financial new golden age we're entering into, and that's why it's working. Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight on the Ace Report, what's going on in the markets with everything Trump's doing, why it's working, how the proof is just everywhere, the amazing, very interesting meeting he had with Netanyahu today, the tariff war with China that's going on and ramping up, and then some other very interesting things. So stay tuned. Got a lot to cover tonight. And first, let me say hey to everybody. Batya does rock. I love her. All right, Sidler Henry, what's up over there on Rumble? The only Rumble comment I see, so I'm going to hit you up first. And Zach Butterfell, what's up? Numero uno tonight, Kasich, Wago Waiko, Rodney Allen, Girth Mike, That Fro Girl, Frank Gonastolgio, Kasich, Butters, what's up? Linda Telly, Husker Power Hobbs, Steve Bernard, Darren Collins, CR Sports Cards, Pet Shigoya, Randy Lochtefeld, BN Pro Patrice, Kim Wiley, Ricky Brogan, Chad Youngkin, Kiss Off, like my other intro music. All right, I'll bring it back. Lyrical, what's up? James Lee, Brian T, Phil Haynes, what's going on? 1230, you in the house, buddy? Michael Quintero, our Will Toe Cramp, Donkey, what's going on, buddy? Lock Up, Paulie V, Mishler P-Man, Mantan, good to see you guys. Good to see you. And hey, shout out to the Discord peeps. I made a joke, and it included, and based on my other chat the other night, I think I offended some people when I was teasing like the boomer generation, baby boomers, calling them boomers. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean anything by it. I don't look down on any generation. They all have their ups and downs. So listen, I'm going to make jokes. I'm going to tease. It's how it's going to be, but I don't mean anything by it. I love everybody in this chat. I love everybody in this community. And I just tell you, we are all in this together. And we want to be the best parts of our culture also come from baby boomers down. It's all good. Okay. So please, I want to clear that up before I get started on anything else, just because it got a little heated in the Discord chat tonight, and I just want to set that straight. I don't mean anything by it. So anyways, God bless you guys, and thank you for your patience on this issue. Matthew Parker, holy smokes, $100 super chat. Thank you, Matthew Parker. Again, I'm humbled by you, man. That is very appreciated. He says, this is our best chance at wealth we have ever seen. If we can ever see margin, it will truly be our day. If we can see margin, it'll be our day. Amen, brother. Amen. I think we are at the beginning of an incredible situation for our country. One unlike, I don't think anybody alive has seen a boom of what we're going to have in the next decade going forward. I believe that with all my heart. I think the closest would be the boom of the after World War II, into the 50s. That would be the closest, but I think what we're about to see is even better. I truly do. Mark R says, my opinion, it's a plan. Marshall Lerner condition states a devaluation or depreciation of a currency will help reduce a current account deficit. Yeah, I mean, and I see what you're, he says if the sum of the price elasticity of demand for exports and imports is greater than one, that's some big words there, Mark. But I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. Don't worry about Matthew. You did great, my friend. Like, share, subscribe. What's up, Andy Brewer? All right, let's get moving on. And so Trump here had some very interesting words with Bibi, and I want to share this because it just, again, it's really important to get into Trump's headspace here. And one of the reasons is because so many people don't understand, because they're not used to volatility for years and years and years. We've gone to Bush, Obama, Clinton. It was like, even though things got crappier over time underneath those presidents, and yes, there were good times, couple of good years here, but overall it just kept getting worse. They slow rolled it. It was a slow death, okay? And you can go back even further to Nixon getting off the gold standard, Carter. It's just been this slow. It's barely been. None of them came in with a wrecking ball. There's been a couple instances. Obamacare was one of them, but still, Obamacare didn't impact the markets the way that's happening now. People's money directly within a day or two. Okay, so what Trump just did is unprecedented in modern times. And it's causing a lot of people to freak out, including people who maybe aren't MAGA, but they voted for Trump. They just don't understand. And the reason they don't understand, the reason MAGA is not freaking out, which, by the way, again, we are the largest constituency of political ideology in America. Okay. 36% of Americans identify as MAGA now. It's a massive number, massive number. The reason MAGA is not freaking out over this is because we know Trump's mentality. We've been following this man for 9 years, and we've studied him back even further. We understand, but they don't. And so, again, it's important to keep showing people what Trump's mindset is. And he really gave us an insight today in his meeting with Bibi. Here, let's play the clip.
It would be nice to serve a nice, easy term, but we have an opportunity to change the fabric of our country. We have an opportunity to reset the table on trade. We lose billions of dollars. We lose close.
Did you catch that? The very first thing he said? It would be nice to have an easy term, but we have an opportunity to reset things. That's really important to remember.
Close to $2 trillion a year on trade. We lose $1 trillion a year to China. $1 trillion. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade to China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars overall, probably close to $2 trillion. Why would we do that? Number one, why would we do that? And then you have to say, is it sustainable? Then you hear about all of the people that say, well, deficits. If we have a deficit with the country, or if the country has a big surplus with us, like China has a massive surplus that they take and they spend on their military. Well, we don't want that. I don't want them to take $500, $600 billion a year and spend it on their military. I don't want them spending money on their military. And I shouldn't have to spend money. We shouldn't have to spend it either. Because, hopefully, and I said this to President Xi, hopefully it's money that we're never going to use. In other words, because we're not going to use those incredible weapons that we have and that they have. We don't want that. So it's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table.
All right, that is a huge statement right there. He looks at it as the only chance we have to reset the table. In other words, with what Trump's seen, what Trump knows, is that he's seen where we're headed. He saw where this economic system we've been in now for decades was headed, that it was coming to the end. And he knew It's now or never. And I tell you what, Trump's encounter with death, I also think put him in a place where he is fully engaged and emboldened in a way that we might not have seen if he hadn't gone through that. You know how, you know, there's in the Bible in Romans 8:28 it says God works out all things according to the good of those who love him. I believe that his assassination attempt, his ear getting clipped, it really did change the man. It really did. And I believe that change is what we're starting to see here in his boldness. It has gone up a level. Believe it or not, Trump, the bold Trump, has gotten even further emboldened, and he doesn't care at all. And here's a good example in this next clip I want to share as well. He's asked about pausing tariffs on Israel, and listen to his response.
Would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiation?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals. As you know, I spoke this morning with the Prime Minister of Japan, and we had a very good conversation. They're coming. And I said, one thing, you're going to have to open up your country, because we sold no cars, like 0 cars in Japan. And they sold millions of cars into our country. They don't really take our agriculture, a little bit of it just to keep us slightly happy, but they don't take what they're supposed to be taking. So we have a great relationship with Japan. We're going to keep it that way, but they're coming in to meet, and other countries are coming in. With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff
He's
isn't
so mad about this
by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that
he's ready to break
were
China
in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China, but they can't do this. We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do this, what I'm doing. And I'll tell you what, it's an honor to do it, because we have been just destroyed. What they've done to our.
Does that sound like a man who's going to capitulate in any way? And it wasn't in this clip, but there's another clip where he says he's asked about Israel. And he's like, now that they've taken off their tariffs, are we going to take off ours? And he's like, I don't think so. He's like, we give you guys $4 billion a year. And he basically admits that, like, you know, we're already giving you guys a bunch. We're still going to tariff Israel. And because of that, that brought about this reaction from Steven Crowder, which just slayed me.
We also couldn't just make an exception for Israel as far as this equation regarding our trade deficit, right, which is how we determined the actual tariffs. What kind of world do you think we would live in if Donald Trump said, okay, we'll apply it except for Israel? I mean, for crying out loud, Candace Owens would grow a wiener just so she could have an erection. We also...
In other words, guys, you guys know, you've been following here, Candace, she fully thinks Trump is owned by Israel. And so if he'd cut out an exception just for Israel, Candace would have been very excited, because it would have proven her point in her mind, but he didn't. And so anyways, that was just freaking hilarious. So Trump, though, he's on the rampage. He's ready to just destroy China. I don't see how China survives this. It says if Trump doesn't withdraw the 34% tariff by April 8th, U.S. will impose additional 50% on China April 9th. In his statement, says yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, massive long-term currency manipulation. Despite my warning, any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs over and above those initially set. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above the already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, 2025, they'll impose additional 50%. It's nuts, guys. And we're shutting down all talks with China. And so China just doesn't back down. And so Trump reiterated again at 5 o'clock tonight. So this is ramping up. And China is not going to survive very long if this happens. He just will not. China is already it's already becoming a ghost town. I mean, the real estate market has completely imploded. There's buildings everywhere that are empty. Massive skyscrapers and entire ghost towns in China. China is already, we don't get good numbers out of China. Let me say that first. And so we don't know if they're full on in deep recession or if they've already started depression. We don't know. But that's because they're allowed to be controlled by the government, manipulates all their data, all that. It moves stuff back and forth, controls the banks. It's crazy. But because of that, we know that they are deeply struggling. And what they've just done is they've upped the ante on the trade war that they just cannot win. We power China's economy. Now, Trump, on the flip side, it's very bold, and he's taking a huge risk here because they also provide us with so much, including most of our pharmaceuticals, which I don't think it's the end of the world if all of a sudden we can't get all of our SSRIs. It'd probably be better for us, honestly, but we're going to have some walking zombies around for a minute. Where's my meds? But the truth is like they control a lot of our goods, a lot of our supply chain, but we control their money, and their economy will absolutely collapse if this is allowed to go through for more than, 2 weeks, a month. It won't take long because China's already at the breaking point. And so the question is, and I know why Xi Jinping has not backed down yet, because to them, strength is everything, is their leadership. They cannot show weakness to their people, because with their people as this, fascistic communist government that just controls everything, authoritarianism, they show weakness. All of a sudden, the people, they might get ideas. They might see a chink in the armor of the government that's just been hounding on them. You never know what kind of instability this can cause in a major government, especially in China. China is 1.6 billion people. It wouldn't take many of them to get ideas, get organized, want to come back. So Xi Jinping is trying to show strength. We are China. We are the greatest. All the lies these countries tell their people. It's just like the old Soviet Union. They would lie about how much more powerful they are than the U.S. Because that's how you make your people stay under you. And China does the same thing. So China's fighting back. But Trump, I just have a feeling, man, he keeps winning on this, and I don't think it's going to stop. And if we break China, holy smokes, guys. And why is nobody talking about this? Do you understand that China is the biggest thorn in our side economically than anybody else? Okay? It just is. And if we could balance our trades with China, if we could get all that figured out, also bring back the stuff we need to, I mean, man, we will see wealth like we've never believed over here in the US, for one thing. But for another thing, the peace factor, the way that would like stabilize out the rest of the world if China is all of a sudden less of a threat. Because, their military is still going to be there and stuff, but that's not what we worry about in America. People talk about it, but that's not really what we're worried about. The Chinese are not interested in taking over our land. You got to come across the Pacific Ocean from them, the biggest ocean in the world, to get to us. They can't pull that off. We still have more advanced weaponry. They will never come at us militarily. They were always trying to eat us up from the inside, drug our people, ruin us financially. That was how China was eventually going to become the world superpower. the lone superpower, was to destroy us economically. If we destroy them economically, it completely resets the power balance in the world going forward for decades. And this should be one of the biggest stories, but nobody's talking about it. Why? Because the media just wants you to be afraid that your 401k is lower. That's all they care about. They because to them, Trump's the enemy, because probably a bunch of them get Chinese money. Let's just be honest. I mean, I'm so done. I don't care anymore about like this, these people. They're sick, and they don't care about you. They don't care about anything except keeping their power and staying there, rich themselves. And I mean, why does nobody cover stuff like this? So the United Auto Workers Union loves what Trump's doing, and then here's the CEO of Baltimore Steel, and let him share what he thinks about today's the tariffs that are going on.
Again, our goal is that we're going to sell millions more dollars, so we have to hire many more people. If we do that, we're going to hire them at very good jobs with very good pay, wonderful benefits with the 401k match. True, there's some companies that have been buying T-shirts from Vietnam and China, and they're going to have to pay a couple more bucks for a T-shirt. And then the American consumer is going to have to pay more for a T-shirt. That's obviously not pleasant for those American consumers. But I think there's going to be an overwhelming surge of hiring in America as things level out, as American factories ramp up and people have to hire talent, buy machines. We've invested money in buying new machines because we're so enthusiastic, so optimistic about the future. That's going to start happening throughout the nation, and people are going to be leaning into the future. This is a very exciting time for the American manufacturing worker. We're going to be able to pull people from poverty into the middle class that used to not have an avenue. They had no shot at getting into the middle class. We're going to be able to offer.
Jake Tapper cannot believe what he's hearing. This guy loves the tariffs. He's telling him that exactly what Trump is doing is exactly what the country needs. The steel workers know it. The auto workers know it. They are stoked. This is just, it's all working out. It's unbelievable. And here's what most while the media is making a big deal about these tariffs in the stock market, this is how most people feel about it. Most regular people.
They go into effect today. What do you think about the Trump tariffs?
Doesn't affect me.
Why not?
I'm pro-Trump, but don't affect me.
Well, what do you think about it? Tell me your opinion on how he's going about it. What do you think?
Dominance, baby. Greatest country in the world.
Dominance, baby. Greatest country in the world. I love it. Love this guy. That's how most of us think right now. And so we just don't fall for the lies. I know you guys don't, but in generally speaking, just this is how we win. This is a bomb. They never expected it to happen. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't think that his tariffs would come out so strong and be so effective so quickly, but it's already happening. And these things are much, much bigger than what we expect them to be. I mean, the results of this, and much faster. Just like when Trump got into office and he started doing all this stuff, he moved so fast, like with Doge and everything, so much faster than we've ever seen a president run. And it's incredible. It's incredible. And they don't know what to do about it. All right. Before I go on to the next section, I want to catch up with the chat a little bit. Let me see here. Moody says if he's pissed at China, he shouldn't be supporting Carney. He's owned by China up in Canada. Trump isn't supporting Carney. He's trolling you guys. He's trolling the Chinese or the Canadian politics. Trump would much rather work with the conservative guy, Pierre. But Carney, he knows he's a globalist. He's insane. He's a hardcore leftist. But Trump also knows that with the leftist, he's going to be dealing with somebody who's much weaker ultimately, and Trump can make the pressure on him much, much better. So I think that's what Trump's talking about. I don't think he's actually supporting him. Country asks, how long can China hold out? Oh, I already talked about that. Is ACSM applying for bankruptcy? Really? That would be interesting. All kinds of hedge funds are falling apart right now. In fact, I don't have the story ready to go tonight, but several have already been reported as even going under. Several smaller hedge funds have already gone under in the last week, is the report. Matthew Parker says a meth and fentanyl supply chain will be disrupted. Absolutely. They're doubling down the tariff retard factor. I love it, Brett. I love it. China has bought presidents off. Absolutely. Joe Biden in 2006, his quote was exactly, China owns us. So don't forget these things. It's everybody knows it, and they've said it out loud even. Rum Dog says Tapper looks like he's trying hard not to learn something. He's always got that look on his face when he doesn't quite like how things are going. He's like, this is my serious face, but it really is his I can't believe what this guy is saying face. Tapper he's a hardcore leftist. He likes to pretend he's moderate. He's annoying. He's super annoying. He's like, he's one of the main guys who covered up Joe Biden's mental deficiencies for months. And then now he's the guy writing the book about how the media covered up Biden's mental deficiencies as if it's some great conspiracy and he's unearthing it, even though he was one of the great perpetrators. This guy is a total fraud, Jake Tapper, but that's I think you guys already knew that. You're right. America is not replaceable. Amen to that. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, Brett, for reminding me. Yes, Trump can definitely manipulate Carney easier. Let's see. Jim Boswell says we'll see crude prices drop to mid 50s by fall, maybe even sooner. We've already dropped under 60 once in oil, which means we're going to start seeing gas get cheaper here a lot sooner. And if this keeps happening, listen, the bounce today might not last. It could bounce a little more tomorrow, maybe the next day. I think futures are up. But listen, if this 50% tariff goes into effect on the 9th, which is Wednesday, oh man, guys, get ready. The market is going to hate that. China is the gold mine for our finance sector. It just has been forever. That's where a lot of the cheap money has been made. That's where a lot of these people have made their money, importing cheap goods, making their empire. Amazon just lives off of China. Walmart, think about it. Apple shares are down 20% in the last 3 days. Why? They don't know what they're going to do. Apple's made a gold mine off of slave labor. And, they're probably making 70% profit off their phones. But they've already announced their phones are going to go up like 15 to 20% each phone, which honestly is not much if you're saving on gas and everything else gets cheaper. But, Apple's scared. A lot of companies are about to be exposed by this. They're about to be exposed by how much they were exploiting the free trade with other countries, exploiting our middle class, exploiting our deficits. These companies are getting rich. And listen, I'm a capitalist. I love making money. I think everybody should make as much money as they can. I want people to be successful. I really do. But I don't want it to be at the expense of others. That's where it goes wrong. Corruption is where it goes wrong. Crony capitalism, which is capitalism where the government decides the winners and losers, that's wrong. Taking out an entire generation of wealth is wrong, of assets, accruing it for themselves, using loopholes, having lobbyists get them to write in laws that allow them to steal from us. That's wrong. And that's the system we have right now. What we need is true market capitalism, free markets, where the government is only involved to protect the people who would be taken advantage of. That's it. And that's all it should be involved in, not picking winners. But that's what we have. And that is a major problem. Apple is a problem. They're an evil company. Google, evil company. And yes, I say that as I'm streaming on YouTube right now. Most of these companies have completely given themselves over to pushing political ideals, to partnering themselves with politicians to screw over us so they can profit more and control us. And that is just that their time is ending though. And that's why they're so mad about these tariffs. Trump's already destroyed the media. Now he's destroying crony capitalism. It's going to start unwinding as this goes. He's deregulating stuff, which guess what? Regulations help big business more than small business because big businesses can afford it. And so that's what's happening. It's all unraveling. It's amazing to see. Let's see. Toe Cramp asks, pardon my stupidity, but you're not stupid. He says, but if hedge funds go bankrupt, how are naked shorts getting settled? Well, there's brokers have a lot of money. Okay. Well, all that money's settled up. And then they go to the DTCC. It's all insured. Okay. And so they owe us up to a certain amount. And it's the small hedge funds going out. There's just money locked up in all these different places, and it's all backed up. And ultimately the government guarantees us a certain amount, just like the FDIC with our banking money. So that's how you ultimately get paid, Toe Cramp. It's all backed up, and it's supposed to be insured in the trillions. But the question is if they even have that money or not. But Trump, the way he's run this government, gives me hope that that it'll work out. It really does. Jim Boswell's gas went up here last week due to summer bland. What's summer bland? But yeah, gas has been up and down the last few weeks, but ultimately it's still lower than when Biden was in, and it's going to keep going lower as oil settles at these low 60s or high 50s prices with all these tariffs in place. Matthew Parker asked, did I see the video where Trump was pushing in the chair of Netanyahu, Macron's chair? No, I didn't see that one. I'll have to watch that because they're so short. Little babies. I love it. Hobbs says, I had an iPhone 7 for the last 8 years. I upgraded 2 weeks ago to iPhone 16 Max. Got it in time. There you go. Just before the price increase. I love it. All right. Let me keep going. All right, Drew, I think I talked about that last night where China's selling our debt and we're buying it back at a cheaper price. I did. I talked about that last night, but I'll look for your story here in a minute. I got other stuff to cover though before I get back to it. Brett says DTCC asked to cover any outstanding obligations beyond broker. Exactly. Yeah, I know, Thomas. I'm so glad I'm not in a blue state anymore. Gas right now in North Carolina, where I just passed, was $2.89. It was $2.65 the other day. It went back up to $2.89, but yeah, it's settling in those areas. Okay. Great Trump clip here. I've got some other news for you guys, but this should make you guys laugh a little bit.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. Over the course of this amazing season, the members...
This is with the Dodgers there. And he calls the California senators. He doesn't even call them by name. He just says, I don't like them. Look at his smile after he says it. This knowing smile. He's the best. He's absolutely the best. Bam shared this today. I thought it was great, so I wanted to read it. He says, to all our friends around the globe, don't let the press and the Marxist left gaslight you. The tariffs are about the national security of the U.S. If we don't bring back minimum manufacturing of essential products for our own self-defense, we're toast. Trump had overwhelming support from the flyover patriots and those of us that understand it's better to sacrifice in a tiny way now than pay unacceptably huge price later. After all, most would rather go without or pay a little more in the short run as our contribution to this fight than to have limbs blown off or worse, which was the case for our brave military men and women for the past 2 decades. Was it easy for our women to step into manufacturing jobs during World War II? No. Was it easy to live with rationing during World War II? No. But the U.S. always steps up when we know the cost of not stepping up is not an option. We'll get through this together. Trust President Trump. He's smarter and more skilled than any of us when it comes to high-stakes negotiations. Amen to that. That is absolutely my thoughts on this. And it's good. It's actually really good if we as a country learn to be sacrificial again. We've completely lost that. And you know what was part of teaching us to not be sacrificial anymore? Cheap goods. Going to Walmart and being able to buy almost anything you want for dirt cheap. because what it taught us is that as we couldn't buy houses anymore, as we can't afford new vehicles anymore, we can't afford to take our family on that nice trip anymore, as we are getting crunched and crunched and crunched by the costs of life, we learn to feed that pain and fight off that pain with drugs, video games, electronics, and cheap goods. It's all a part of it. And it just keeps us going when life gets harder. And that's how it is. And what we've done as a result of that, they just kept feeding us these cheap goods, this cheap entertainment to just get our dopamine going so that we would be cozy little pawns in their scheme. Give the peasants their cake, like let them eat cake. That's what we've been getting as our livelihoods, as our opportunities have gotten worse and worse over the decades. That's what they've been giving us. And they didn't think we'd fight back. But the truth is, now that we are fighting back, we have to learn how to sacrifice. We have to get that greatness in us again, that American greatness. And I do believe it's coming. I believe that the generations have banded together. The older generation, a lot of them are like, you know what? We're ready. We're ready to fight for our country again. We like what we're seeing. We're ready to fight for our kids and our grandkids again. The next generation who's in the middle of it in their adulthood right now is like, I am tired of being screwed. I wasn't able to afford what my parents could afford, my grandparents could afford. I'm fighting for that. The lower generation is like, this sucks. We don't like this cheap stuff. Gen Z is the most conservative young generation in decades. They voted by Trump for overwhelming. In fact, Gen X is the generation that voted the most for Trump, which is shocking. And then Gen Z, which is crazy. Millennials and boomers were actually the most left. I'm a millennial, so I'm ashamed of that. But isn't that crazy? It's just crazy who voted for Kamala. But we're learning again. We're learning that sacrifice again. And I think that fight, we're ready to put it up. Jim Boswell says Apple may have to close their China factories. I know. But here's the deal with that. They already knew that. And you know what they were planning on doing? They were planning on going to another country to exploit it. Vietnam, Taiwan, all these other countries. And yet, but the tariffs, Trump said it. They were asking Lutnick. They were like, why'd you tariff these countries that have penguins living on them, the islands? There's nobody even there. He was like, we had to tariff everything because if we didn't, all the countries would use other little countries in order to, they'd filter it through there to escape the tariffs. And so that's why they slapped it on everything. China Mart. Don't fight the Fed says, look at the historic price earnings ratio. Stock market's 5 times overvalued. Absolutely. This is, there is a good argument to be made that this isn't a crash. It's just a correction to the overvaluing, which I would mostly agree with for sure. Amen, guys. Absolutely. India too. All right. Another good news today. The Senate passed the budget plan. And so this is one step closer to the budget reconciliation bill that's going to have everything in it, including making permanent the Trump tax cuts. And so Trump made a statement on it. And by the way, this should get through the House with just a little bit of fighting, but it means we're that close. I think at this rate, the tariffs are putting pressure on the Republicans to get this done so that the economy gets some good news to juice it. Imagine what's going to happen with all these tariffs in place, all these deals getting worked out to make our trade much more fair, bringing revenue in. And then on top of that, we juice it with a massive tax cut and excitement for that. Tax cuts on tips, on Social Security, all that as well. That's going to be a massive thing for the markets and for the economy in general, for investment. So this is huge. And now the Republicans have pressure on them to get it done faster because of tariffs, which is another part of the genius of Trump's timing. But he wrote this: budget plan just passed by the U.S. Senate has my complete and total endorsement and support. All of the elements we need to secure the border, enact historic spending cuts. There's a big one right there. And make tax cuts permanent and much more strongly covered and represented in this bill. I mean, that's just huge. And then he calls out Thune and Mike Johnson and We're getting closer to the one big beautiful bill, which will change everything. It really will. I don't think people understand how big a deal all of this coming together in this right now is, and it's one of the reasons why the media is up in an uproar more than usual. The Democrats are in an uproar more than usual. Even Republicans, even some rhino Republicans are pissed because if this happens, if he sticks with the tariffs and then he gets this bill passed, it's over. Our economy is officially changed going forward. Yes, there's more to do, but it's already changed after this. It'll happen like that. And we're building on a new economy. And then on top of that, we have other things that can get cleaned up as we go. Maybe eventually in a couple of years, maybe we have an awesome midterms because the economy is booming. Maybe then we finally can get rid of the income tax, or maybe the dream of all dreams. Maybe eventually then we get rid of the Fed. Who knows? But it's on track to get that done because if Trump remakes our economy and it's booming and MAGA's more popular than ever and he's soaring on it and we take more seats in the House and gets up to maybe 55, 60 in the Senate, or they finally eliminate the filibuster rule, which they should do because it's unconstitutional. All of this is good stuff. We get another seat on the Supreme Court. Guys, we truly could have the most amazing next 3 years before Trump gets out. And then Vance comes in and is just riding with it, just getting even more done. It's amazing things are happening. Here's a graphic that really shows what Trump's already getting done as well in our country. President Trump secured more private investment in his first 11 weeks than Biden secured over his entire first term. And here's a graphic on that. Total private investment secured. Biden, 1 trillion, 56 billion. Trump, 1.5 trillion in his first 11 weeks. I mean, make the private markets great again. It's amazing. It's amazing what we're watching happening. Let me catch up in the chat and got a little more to cover here in a minute, but let me see what you guys are saying. All right. China makes the AA and AAA batteries sold here. Really? I didn't know that. Who's paying for the leftist rallies held last weekend? I think it's a conglomerate of people, but Soros is definitely a big one. He really funded the BLM rallies, protests a few years ago, riots. And I have no reason to think he stopped. No reason at all. Wrong Way Corrigan says a Chinese toilet plunger from Wally World will cost $7,700. It's so funny to me, and that is a funny comment. But the truth is if a plunger is $5 now and it's made in China, and we slap all these tariffs on it and say it ends up being 100% tariff, well, that plunger is now $10. That sucks, right? It's a cheap plunger from China. $5, $10. What you going to buy? Well, maybe now you buy the American-made one for $9 that you wouldn't have bought the first time because the Chinese one was so much cheaper, and the American-made one's better, and now it's cheaper than the Chinese one. That's how that works. And now you have a plunger that, yes, you paid more than you wanted to, but it's also going to last you 5 times as long. And that honestly, that's the truth. That's how a lot of this works. Now, a lot of American stuff is kind of junky now too, but that'll change because what American goods have been doing the last several years is one of the only ways to compete a lot of these goods was to try to get cheaper. And so that meant because it's being made in America by people who get higher wages, it means getting chintzier on the parts. But now if American products are competitive again, there's incentive to make them better again. And so I think that can change. Laura Loomer has been doing stuff on tracking the buses, all that. Absolutely. She's been doing some great work lately. Shout out to her. I'm not always her biggest fan, but she does amazing work when she really gets into it. We do have to ban naked short selling. I agree. Well, I think it's always interesting when somebody brings up like that. Naked short selling is illegal. You don't have to ban it. It's already banned. The problem is it's allowed. The only way to get rid of naked short selling with a ban is to ban all short selling. That's it. It's the only way you can get it with a ban. The other way to do it is actually just enforce the rules we already have. You don't need to ban naked short selling. It's already banned. It's short selling in general that has to be banned if you want an immediate fix to naked short selling. Otherwise, the only other immediate fix is to just finally enforce the regulations that are already there. So that's how it works. We're not getting 8 more years of DJT. The whole Trump will run again thing is not happening. It's a fun thought, but it's just not going to happen. I'm telling you guys, listen, if you guys haven't learned by now, Trump, he likes to push things. He likes to go far. He likes to do things we've never seen before, but he doesn't break the rules. Have you guys noticed that yet? He doesn't go against the Constitution ever. He doesn't go against the courts. Trump plays by the rules, and that's one of the reasons he keeps winning. The reason why they couldn't get Trump when they were going after him with 91 indictments is because he's squeaky clean. He's always played by the rules. Even when he's bent those rules to his will, when he's used them maybe unethically. I'm not saying Trump's perfect, but Trump's always been legal. That is how he stayed safe all these years. And now at 78 years old, you think he's going to try to do something like thwart the Constitution? No way in hell. That's not how Trump works. It's just not how he works. He's never done it his entire life. He's never done it since being president, and he's not going to do it again. He's not going to run for a third term. He's not. He's just having fun. Plus, he's going to be 82. I think Trump is going to work hard on this term, and he's going to turn things over to J.D. Vance and then just lead from the sidelines as one of the great leaders of the Republican Party still, or MAGA still. That's what Trump's going to do. But I'm telling you right now, he's not going to run again. He's not going to run. Trump said he had shocking news. He didn't say it was today. When he said something found in Doge, yeah, he never said when it's coming out, just soon. Brett asks, what will Gavin Newsom do if the price of crude oil goes down? How is he going to slither around? His hair gel remain stable? Yes, it will. Enforcing the rules is a novel idea, right, Butters? We're praying that the what's it called? The Paul Atkins, when he gets in, which hopefully by the end of this week, he'll start enforcing the rules. Trump can run as Vance's VP. It's a legal argument. I don't think he wants to, though. I'm telling you guys, I really don't think he wants to. We'll see. We'll see. Fro Girl, how's it going? I'm sorry you don't feel well. Moody says, Ham said even if short selling's banned, they'd mark their tickets long. So there you go. Get rid of the market maker exemption. Amen. Stephen R says he's definitely not running again. I'm sure after this he wants to rest. He's done. He really is. But it's gonna listen, he's still gonna have a major influence. But that's why the JD Vance pick was so important, guys. It was so important because he needed a successor. And his JD Vance was basically handpicked by Donald Jr. And Trump trusts his kids. He really does. He really listens to them. And I wouldn't be surprised if whoever Vance picks as his VP is also seen as an up-and-coming leader in the MAGA movement. This movement is not going anywhere now because we have a successor. We have to be okay with moving on from Trump after these 4 years. We have to. Because if we want this to last, if we want this to be something that lasts for 20, 30, 40 years and fully just change our country forever and then hold on to that change, it has to be succession. It cannot be with one man. Because if it stays just Trump, that's trouble. That's trouble because then it'll die with him. Trump cannot become bigger than MAGA. He cannot be. And by handing it off to Vance, he'll make MAGA bigger than himself. And that's what we need for our country. It's the most important thing. Bannon talks a lot of stuff like that, Vince. There's a lot of stuff Bannon says that just doesn't happen. And I love Steve Bannon, but I don't think he's always, I think Steve Bannon is crazy like a fox. And I think a lot of Steve Bannon, the stuff he says, he does it on purpose to throw people off the scent. I really do. I don't think Steve Bannon always means everything he says. Trump runs as Vance as VP. Vance steps down, becomes Trump's VP pick. No, here's the problem. Even if the Constitution says you can only be president for a total of 10 years. So even if he did that, he can only be president for 2 of those years. And they want it. It just doesn't work, guys. I'm sorry. It won't work. Toe Cramp says he's not running again. He's working at breakneck speeds to right this turn. JD up next. Exactly. It's true. Exactly. Pass a winning America onto Vance. That'll be the best thing to happen. It will be the best thing to happen. Stephen Hart says, now I know he picked Vance. Vivek would never been able to win in 2028. Nope. He won it. And I don't know if we want Vivek to do it. I just don't, Vivek is going to be a great governor of Ohio. That's what he's going to be. You guys, listen, you guys can root for it all you want, but I'm going to be right on this. And when I have these convictions, I'm almost always right. You guys know that when it comes to politics, just saying, but you guys can have your fun dreams, your pipe dreams. I'm not going to steal them from you. Enjoy it. And maybe you guys will, get some unicorns while you're at it. All right. Couple other things here. Great post about China. It says China really has no options. They have to fold. They have to. Their party is over. It lasted 45 years. Time to build their own local consumption economy. Now they're going to have to completely redo it. So there you go. It is. I completely agree with that. And tonight, here's tonight's episode of Democrats who love Trump's policies. And again, here's Bernie Sanders.
I believe in trade, but I believe in fair trade, not unfettered free trade. I do not believe that we should be shutting down factories in America and having corporations run to desperate countries where people are paid $1 or $2 an hour. I don't believe in that. The function of trade is not made just to make large corporations wealthier.
Tariffs?
When tariffs are necessary, absolutely.
Tariffs are necessary, absolutely. Thank you, Bernie. I really appreciate when Bernie's on our side. It makes me very happy. Roger says, got to keep the Trump 4-peat rumors going. It's driving the Democrats crazy. Oh, exactly. And that's why you do it. That's why you do it. It deflects. It keeps you, it keeps the left and the media off the scent. It riles them up, drives them crazy, and it's genius. We have our psyops too that are good psyops, and all that stuff that makes them crazy. That's exactly what it is. I do mean future Ohio Governor Ramaswamy. Yes, I do believe he'll win the Ohio governorship. Absolutely. Vance is Trump's apprentice. I like that. I like that too. Okay. Huge. This is huge, guys. This happened tonight. The Supreme Court sided with Trump 5-4. Amy Coney Barrett defected because I don't know, she's a wishy-washy one, that Barrett. But it doesn't matter because it didn't cost us in this. They sided with Trump and allow him now. He's got full ability to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport Tren de Aragua gang members. Here's part of the decision. Just great. The Supreme Court is finally starting to get involved in some of these things, slapping down these lower court rulings that have been trying to stop Trump. They slapped down a smaller one the other day as well, but this is a big one. This completely just destroys that activist judge and everything he was trying to do, which is really awesome. So congratulations. Good job, Supreme Court. This is why we need 6-3, because we do get defectors. Roberts and Barrett tend to defect. Every once in a while, Gorsuch will defect if it's like a really libertarian issue that tends to be more on the liberal side. But Gorsuch is pretty solid. We don't have to worry about him. But Barrett and Roberts will defect. They'll join the left sometimes. And thank God we caught Roberts this time to stay, and this passed. So great news. Great news for the deportation. And now this stops, because now nobody can stop them from going after any of the gang members, which I imagine they'll use this for MS-13 too, which is excellent. Excellent news. All right. This is a crazy story that's developing, so I don't have much on it yet. But Ruth, the guy who tried to kill Trump at his golf course, This is very interesting on him. It says the DOJ filed a sealed motion in the case against Ryan Wesley Ruth in Florida. Ryan Wesley Ruth. Say that 10 times fast. Ryan Wesley Ruth. Ryan Wesley Ruth. Man. In Florida, charged with trying to kill Trump on September 15th at Trump International Golf Course. Filing is so secretive, marked ex parte, in camera, and under seal, that even Ruth's lawyers can't see it. It cites the Classified Information Procedures Act. So what's going on here? This is very rare, and it just makes you wonder. You know, I can't speculate too much because I could just be wrong on everything by a wide margin, but it does make you wonder if there's some conspiracy stuff going on here that they're finding. And that could just be absolutely crazy. So anyways, just very interesting. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this story for sure. Another crazy story coming out. The study finds 1 in 5 votes invalid in Orange County, California in 2024. This directly impacted our House seats. Now, we watched the election night. You guys watched me on my 7-hour stream. Thank you very much. Appreciated that. It's the biggest stream of my life. 24,000 people watched my live stream of the election, which is amazing. And so grateful to you guys for that. Very successful. But that night, we watched Trump win handily. And yet, over the next few weeks in California and so on and so forth, we watched House seats just drop out of nowhere, just be close, and then late votes come in, swing them left and right. Happened with a couple Senate seats too, like Kerry Lake in Arizona. But California was where up to like 4 or 5 of these House seats flipped very strangely later. And so here you go. They're finding this 1 in 5 votes invalid. 3 House races were decided by less than 17,000 votes or left, and they all went to Democrats. It makes you wonder, will the DOJ jump on this, and could this start expanding our House majority, which would be huge? And it also means if they go after this and they keep finding this stuff and we start fixing elections and getting election integrity in, it means the midterms are going to be a wipeout. It really does. The only way that would not be is if the economy is completely tanked, which I don't see happening. I think the economy is already on its way to getting better. The stock market's already adjusting to the tariffs. Now, I still think more is to come with the stock market because there's a lot more correcting to do. But the point is that our economy is capable of jumping back really quickly. So good stuff happening. Good night, Moody. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Toe Cramp says 100% conspiracy. It's very possible. Yeah. CIA hero. Frogirl agrees. Rum Dog says Pelosi and Cruz slowly corrupting California voting since she took office. Well, yeah, and it started before that, but I agree. She's definitely made it worse. And they still have their time in court. Yeah, absolutely. California has to count the votes faster than a month. We need to get to the point where it's all decided on the day of, all of it. Unless, and every once in a while, there might be a rare exception where there needs to be a recount because it's so close, but we'll see. Trump did not sell $3.2 billion in stock before he announced tariffs. Flicks. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong on that. That was stock set aside from DJT from an S3 they filed back in 2024. It finally was released. And Trump and his trust actually didn't sell any of the stock, and that was completely debunked. So welcome, join in, but you're coming to a place where we actually know what we're talking about, and you're not going to throw us off the scent. But nice try, bud. Nice try. DJT, none of those stocks were sold, and there's been no dilution. All right. This is what also is going on, guys. All right. Now the pain's coming back to business. A huge international child porn ring was just exposed in Florida. Over 1 million videos involved, including babies. So this is another part that's just insane, guys, that the Trump administration is just making a major push on. Pam Bondi has a strong record. And I talked about this. One of the reasons I was so happy she got in is that she really went after trafficking in Florida when she was attorney general there. And now she's going after it again. We're seeing story after story after story of this going on. And here's just another one. I mean, it's just disgusting. These people need to be put behind bars, lock and throw away the key forever. and they can burn hell for all I care. But this stuff is insane, and it just keeps happening, and it's coming out faster and faster. I showed you guys the other day how they're finding millions of kids that the Biden administration, or hundreds of thousands of kids, I should say, that the Biden administration had lost from the border. It's just happening, and thank God we finally have justice in this nation. Thank God we finally have an FBI doing something, a DOJ doing something for our people and for our kids. It's about damn time. And it just makes you sick when you find out more and more how much was allowed to happen under the Biden administration. It was the sickest, most corrupt, most immoral, disgusting group of people who've ever run our country for the last 4 years. It was, so thank God that this is happening, and we just pray that justice keeps going on. I will end on G-Bucks, guys. Okay. I'm almost there. Don't worry, because G-Bucks is getting interesting. Thomas Dubois says ex parte is sneaky plus sealing it and citing. That means nobody would be privy to it. And even though judges that seal can unseal through motion, it'll never happen. Checkmate. Yeah. I cannot wait till that stuff gets uncovered. Trump, remember, he said he was going to declassify all the documents surrounding his assassination attempts. So for now, they're probably keeping them locked down as they go through this stuff with the cases, everything being sorted out. It's going through the legal process, but when it's done, we're going to see everything. And there's a reason for that. Trump wants justice for what happened to him as well. Which should happen. We should all want justice for any assassination attempt. Even if somebody tried to assassinate Biden, I would want to know everything. Okay. Even if it's a president I can't stand, even if it was Obama, I don't care. I want to know everything, because we don't do that in our country. You just don't do that. And you want to know why it's happening and what's really going on. It's never just these runaway guys. Anybody who thinks that is a moron at this point. And there are people on the left who do think it. Oh, he's just so mad. He was a mad registered Republican. It's like, you guys are retarded. Not only was he giving money to Kamala and Biden, but he also clearly, it's like there was just too much going on for him to be allowed to be there. I mean, on the roof and broad daylight in front of everybody. He brought a rangefinder. They let him through. It's just too much going on. So I cannot wait to see that declassification as well. All right. Finally, I want to play this clip, a little bit of this from Glenn Beck today, because, I got to give it to Glenn. He was not a big Trump guy at first. He didn't get it when Trump first came on the scene, but I'll always say this about Glenn. He is I think Glenn's an honest man, and I think he goes where the data is. And as he learned more, he figured it out. And he could see what Trump's really wants to do. And so here is what he's seeing right now. And so I'm going to play a little bit of this. By the way, as I'm starting this, go ahead, like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Okay. Here's what Glenn says about what's going on right now.
A different feel on this one. I feel like, you know what we're not talking about? What we're not talking about is this is the Great Reset. Except it's not the Great Reset. It's the Great Reset of the Great Reset.
There it is. I hate to say it, but I stole the title for the video tonight from Glenn. But he's absolutely right. This is the reset of the reset. It's resetting and taking back our country from the globalists, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
The Great Reset. We had two ways to go, and Donald Trump never said it this way, but I thought I had articulated this, and maybe I hadn't clearly enough, and I've been trying to say it for the last few days. So let me just be very, very clear. You had two choices. The world as we know it doesn't work. So the first choice was what Klaus Schwab was doing, where we could all eat, bugs, and they were going to reset everything, get away from the free market entirely, go all globalism, and push everything up to a global government.
All in.
That would reset. Yeah, that would reset our economies. It would reset our dollar. We would go to a global currency. All of the stuff we've talked about for the last 5 years, that's real. That was happening. Donald Trump came along and said, don't like that. Don't want to do that.
That's good.
That's really
good. That's a good observation. We shouldn't do that.
The problem is you can't just not do that because the problems are real. The solutions, the way the world works now, no longer works. It doesn't work the way it did in 1946.
Exactly. Yep.
It's not 1946 again. So we need to update the system and repair all of the damage that has been done for the Great Reset. Because remember, what was their plan? To manage the decline of the West.
Yep, exactly. Glenn nails it. He's exactly right. And I disagree with him on one thing. He said we need to update it. No, we don't need to update it. We need to go back to the system we had before, but it's going to be the better version. Because the system we had before, where we were tied to gold, we didn't tax our people like crazy. We tariffs, obviously much more deregulated economy. Things are thriving, all of that. We need to go back to that with everything that we have now technology wise, which if that comes together, it leads to the greatest boom ever. We can't keep this system at all. And that's where the only place I disagree with them on. We have to finally break it. We have to break off of it because this Keynesian, whatever, I can never say it right. This system we're on that's just debt run, where you just print and print and print and keep a fake economy going, and you just act as if debt doesn't matter. It doesn't work. It always sucks away from the people. And so it can't happen. But he's absolutely right about everything else. We were on a trajectory that has been going on for decades that Obama accelerated. He was the person to set them on the final run to knock it out. He was part one, and part two is going to be Hillary. Hillary failed. And there's lots of reasons we can all say why. There's lots of theories other than just Trump winning straight up. But Hillary failed. Trump came in. What Trump did is he put a pause on the global on their reset. He put some things in place that made it very difficult for them to get back to it, like bringing peace, closing our border, starting to bring manufacturing back, getting those tax cuts, all that. Then they unleashed COVID. And if COVID had happened on Hillary's watch, we'd all be in, brick apartments right now. It'd be commie central. But she wasn't in power. Trump navigated us through that. Biden comes in, and Biden just tries to do whatever he can to try to get us back on the path they'd set us on, but he couldn't do it. And instead, it worked in our favor because as sucky as those Biden years were, it woke up the people. And now Trump has the whole team, the whole country on his side, at least enough of us that it can move a lot faster. And now this is when we fully break them. Trump right now, I believe these 4 years are about breaking the system, breaking the globalists, bringing justice, and setting up the country for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And that's what's going on. It's a time of exposure. It's a time of justice. It's a time of tearing down globalism and what they wanted for us. So that's his great reset, and it's working. And the only surprise I have, because I expected him to do all these things, the surprise I have is how fast it's happening. It's happening so much faster than I expected. And that's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing. Okay. Last thing tonight, guys. I want to get no 49ers hat this evening. My kids have been playing with them, and now I can't find them. So you guys get to get a break from staring at a Niners logo tonight. Rumdog says, if the globalists have a one world mentality, why are they not for a no tariff system where everything is equal for all countries? Well, that's a good question, Rumdog. The only answer I have that I'm confident in about that is that they need, in order to fully get that system, they have to destroy America first. They have to bleed us dry to the point where the people are willing to give up our Constitution. And they were going to do that by choking us out financially, starving us. That's what the lockdowns were going to be all about. If Trump hadn't been in when COVID happened, we'd probably still be locked down today. We'd be struggling to survive. Supply chains would still be a mess. They never, and then they were going to have more time to work on that vaccine, probably make it worse. And who knows what would have happened. It would have been very ugly if Hillary had been in when COVID happened. But instead, Trump saved us, guys. I really believe that. I really do. It was a miracle to have him in during that time. Yeah, so that's why I believe they would have had that tariff system in place still, with other countries bleeding us dry for now. I really do. It was to pillage the U.S. of our wealth, and then they could get us to what they want to do. While Trump was working at McDonald's, Kamal was doing 5Ks with Franzia. Robot Lion says, I think part of their strategy is push the stock market down for people to run to bonds and get yields down and refinance the debt. 100%. Yep. I've talked about that a few times. You're absolutely right. Completely agree with that. Brett says, hello, silent viewers. We definitely appreciate you being here. If you could hit the like button, it helps the stream and algorithm. Amen. My YouTube, imagine this, doesn't usually like my show. So if you guys could hit that like and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. What's up, Akira? Go Florida. Well, hey, I'm just glad Duke didn't win. So would have been kind of cool if Houston won, though. Thomas, hear anything from emergency Fed closed meeting? No, that was actually kind of a nothing burger. That meeting was, they made a big deal of it. It was just a pre-scheduled meeting. It really wasn't anything too fancy. Okay, last thing, guys, for tonight. Let's talk G-Bucks. G-Bucks remains on bar chart 100% buy. Today was a slower day. And while the market was going up and down, like crashing down 1,500 points, then rising up 500 in the Dow, and then back down again 700 points, just a crazy day in the markets, G-Bucks just kept going up. At one point, G-Bucks was about to push 10. It settled at 9. It finished up 12% on the day. They are struggling. There is no selling in this. It is hedge funds are struggling bad right now. ACSM, we're seeing all kinds of issues, which is the shorter against it. I'm telling you guys, G-Bucks looks like it. Unless they shock us and all of a sudden they get a bunch of liquidity when the market is in crazy mode these next few days, which I just don't see happening. But unless that happens, G-Bucks really looks like something that could break out. It really does. So this is not financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion on this, but I am very excited about G-Bucks right now. It is, again, it closed over 9 today. That's huge. After, being under $3, 2 weeks ago. So, and it just keeps moving in very small volume days, all kinds of issues with orders today on G-Bucks. You can tell they are scared. So I am just extremely bullish on this. And listen, if G-Bucks has a massive run, it's very, I really think G-Bucks could move a lot of money into finger and then see what happens. Oh no, we don't talk about AMC here. Come on, drop more boxers than Mike Tyson. Oh my God, you guys. You guys crack me up. But here's Ham saying G-Bucks getting better. Current strength is the maximum. Current direction is the strongest. Means naked shorts will be roasted any day now. Market down over 4,000 last 3 days. Stocks up $5. My target price for Ham says my target price is 75 to 100 now. Obviously, no way to know that, but pretty crazy. But yes, look at this. It's just everything. Current direction, current strength right here on bar chart, maximum for G-Bucks. Current direction, top 1% strongest. Overall average, 100% buy. This is as bullish as you can get on a stock right now. And it's very exciting. Very exciting stuff. So we'll see what happens. Rumdog says he found issues buying ZJWL today. Interesting. A lot of these heavily shorted stocks might be having issues. So, and what does that tell you? What does that tell you? when the market is just struggling to figure out what to do. So futures for tomorrow, way up. I mean, we got the Dow at 650. I mean, S&P up 1.3%, 68. NASDAQ futures up. So tomorrow might be a huge bounce back day. It really could be. We're kind of, I wouldn't shock me. The U.S. 10 years back over 4, which is interesting. Oil's gaining some strength. So this is just, you guys know that the largest stock market move days up usually follow the fastest days down. So we are in a bear market right now with big downs, big ups. And we might see a lot of volatility the next few weeks, up, down, up, down. But overall, I think a big crash is still coming. I don't know when, but it definitely is. The market's very fragile right now. A little bit of news can move it a lot. That fake news story today that came out that said Trump was pausing tariffs rocketed up the Dow like 1,000 points in 5 minutes. It was insane. So a little bit of news can turn things fast right now. So just keep your eyes on the markets. Very volatile right now. Very scary in most stocks, but that's why it's our stocks. I mean, this is proof in some ways, but our stocks are holding steady or moving up. Like Finger Motion was down a little bit today, but nothing crazy. You know, it's not getting killed. It's not getting killed with the market. G-Bucks is obviously just crushing it. Still moving, very low volume. DJT's been getting crushed, but that's fine with me because I think it's going to eventually have its move. But this is G-Bucks the last month, guys. I mean, 2 weeks ago, 244, and now look at us, we're over 9, and it's still 100% buy. So anyways, that's my G-Bucks spiel. Follow Ham for the best updates day to day. He's updating every day as it goes. On that note, that's the end of the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the support. And listen, let's do what we always do. And in a prayer, we are winning. Things are getting better. I believe the markets, I'm not worried about it. I think the economy is going to be much stronger by the end of the year. And this is just the medicine, as Trump says. And it's okay. I think the medicine tastes great, honestly. I like this medicine. We've been waiting on it. So we'll see what happens. But again, if you're in the right position, this could be a great chance to make some really big money. So again, like and subscribe, and let's say our closing prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless this amazing community, Lord. Thank you for them. Just bless them all, especially Thomas Dubois, God, and his health right now with that cancer. God, I just pray, God, that he just gets his miracle and can get, Lord, just a full life moving forward, healthy. And God, we pray for our country. Just bless it, Lord. I pray that the full turnaround happens. Protect and guide Trump and his team. Lord, watch over them as they navigate this crazy times. And I just thank you for the boldness. And I believe all these moves are being made in wisdom. And I just pray that no pressure would deter them from what they know is right. I don't think it will, but I pray for them anyways. And just thank you again that we get a chance to see our country thrive again. And hopefully be better than ever for our kids and grandkids. And so we thank you for that. And we pray just more blessings over our country. Pray for justice where justice is needed as well. And exposure to continue. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. God bless you guys. Love you. Have a great night. And thank you for your support. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Good night.